everyone. It's good to have you back. And we are going to read a very interesting letter today, a letter that I think is going to be relevant to any one of us. And the topic that's being discussed today is avoiding sadness and worry and having peaceful trust in God. So, this is letter number 1019. These letters were numbered and it was written in the year 5711. Greetings and blessings. In response to the letter you sent me, this is called a pun. When I was at the gravesite of my revered father-in-law, I mentioned you for a blessing for all your needs. Certainly, he will arouse blessings for you and your wife, that you will be completely healthy and enjoy peace of mind and peace of body. This is particularly true since, as you write in your letter, you are in possession of a letter from my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe, who gives you his blessings for you to establish yourself in a desirable way of life. So, just to give a little background, there is an age-old custom to go to the gravesite of righteous people and to write a letter, which is called a pan, like Pan. It means pidyon nefesh, which is basically a request for a blessing, a redemption of the soul. That's what you're asking. Like you're asking your soul to be redeemed, and this righteous person whose grave it is in front of you is kind of an intercessor, almost like an intermediary to help navigate your prayers to God so that they are heard, more quickly than they would otherwise. So also going to a gravesite of a righteous person arouses feelings of compassion and desire to return to God. And so it's just a great way to kind of get yourself into the zone in prayer to God. So you're not praying to the righteous person, you're praying with the assistance of that righteous person. So the Rebbe was mentioning that this person wrote, apparently, this person had some requests, and when the Rebbe went to visit his own father-in-law, who was the sixth Lubavitcher Rebbe, he went and he had in mind this person that's writing the letter about sadness and worries and such. So anyway, the letter continues. In your letter, you write that you suffer from an ailment, from a sickness which you do not specify, and that at any moment you are likely to suffer a serious heart attack. Heaven forbid. So the Rebbe continues and says, in my opinion, this is not true. And after asking your forgiveness, I must say that you are exaggerating the situation greatly. You continue saying that you feel an iron barrier is separating between you and God, and that your prayers and all the charity and good deeds that you gave has been entirely ineffective. So the Rebbe here is describing the situation of the person, that they think that they're going to have a heart attack any moment, and that all the great deeds that they've done, especially in the areas of charity and prayers, they feel like nothing has come true. So this is a trap that sometimes we find ourselves in, a trap of your evil inclination trying to get you to stop doing these things, saying, "Oh, you're not seeing any results. You're praying, you're giving charity, you're doing different good mitzvot, but nothing's happening. Your situation in life has not changed in any way." So that means either you have no connection with God, there's like literally a barrier between the two of you, or that these things are a waste of time, and that it's not worth continuing doing. Of course, this is something you need to completely tune out and not pay attention to, because this is part of what the evil inclination, which is a force of resistance inside of us, which is actually a good thing, because this is what allows us to come back and battle harder and have and come out stronger if we win the battle. So the Rebbe continues. Certainly, you yourself understand that your statements are no more than imagination. Even if there were an iron barrier, we have been given a plain spoken promise by our sages that even an iron barrier cannot separate between a Jew and their Father in heaven. Similarly, what you write that your prayers and the charity that you have given has had no effect, this is unacceptable. The Rebbe goes on and quotes different passages that talk about how the mitzvah of giving tzedakah is so great that it says in the Gemara that one should not test God. Like, don't say, "Oh God, test me to see if I can remain faithful to you." You should not test God in any area except tzedakah. Meaning, if you decide to give charity in a way that goes beyond reason, God wants you to is willing to be tested in that area, that He will give back to you tenfolds or 100-folds, 100x that. He's saying, go ahead, test me. You'll see. This is not just an empty promise. I will do that. So it's a very, very strong statement about the power of charity, the power of giving beyond one's, beyond reason even, that it will be repaid by God many times over. And should definitely encourage all of us to give more. I've seen that with my own eyes, and it definitely blows my mind whenever that happens. So the Rebbe continues. The fundamental concept is, as explained in the text of Hasidut, that this is one of the counsels of the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, to cause a person to fall into sadness. One must be careful not to fall into sadness, even over spiritual matters. The Rebbe is saying definitely not for material matters, just things that have nothing to do with spirituality, all the more spiritual matters. When sadness comes from other concerns, there's nothing worse than that. You should strengthen and reinforce your trust in the principles in which the entire Jewish people, even the least worthy, believe. That the Holy One, blessed be He, is not merely the creator of the world. He is the one who controls it every day, every moment, and every hour. This applies not only to the world at large, but also to all the elements of the world in microcosm, which includes man. The Holy One, blessed be He, who is the ultimate of good, will certainly show eventually how everything is for the good, for readily apparent good, in a manner that can be appreciated even by our mortal eyes. So the Rebbe is saying here that whenever you feel yourself going down in that slippery slope of sadness or heaven forbid, depression, and you start doubting things, you start thinking that everything is dark, remember, God is in control of every aspect of the world, including the problem that you're encountering or feeling, or the collection of problems that you have, and that they are coming to you for your own good. And in due time, if you keep the faith, if you keep having trust, and in Hebrew, there's a beautiful word that everyone should know. It's called bitachon, which is trust in God. If you show your trust in God, that no matter what, good or bad, up and down, wherever you are on the life cycle of in the circle, whether you're on the up of things or down below, that you believe in God and you continue to do everything without letting go of any of your daily practices, prayers, devotion to God, keeping the Sabbath, whatever it may be that you do. If you don't let go, you'll see in due time the good that will come out of that situation. And I'm sure you can all think of many dark moments that were inflection points, that were turning points, that ended up with much revealed goodness that came out of these bad moments. And that's something that's true for me, and I'm certain that it's true for many, many out there that are hearing this message. So the Rebbe continues that for this to be appreciated, for you to appreciate how God is good at all times, and that everything that comes from God, even if it seems to you at that moment to be negative, for you to appreciate that, you must strengthen one must strengthen his bond with the living God by establishing fixed times for the study of the Torah of life. So that's one, to make times, daily times, like the way we are now, learning every day about, this is Torah, after all, what we're learning. It's not just a letter, it's actual deep concepts of Torah that are being clarified in a very simple way, which is the genius of the Rebbe. So saying that we should fix times every day to learn Torah, whether it be, let's say, in the morning, on your way to work, you listen to an audio or video class, whether it be when you get home from work, whether it be after you put your kids to bed, whatever it may be, just make it part of your daily ritual. And then the second thing on top of that is the service of prayer, which is an act of kindness to one's soul. What is that? Basically, praying. We have, as Jews, we have 3 prayers 3 times a day, and certainly you can choose to do 1, 2, or all 3. And it's a wonderful way to read from the prayer book, and also to insert your own personal prayers into those prayers, because all those blessings are very they pretty much touch upon every aspect of one's life. So learning Torah, praying, and last but not least, through the strengthening of the observance of the mitzvot, which in general are identified with tzedakah. Tzedakah being charity. Tzedakah comes from the root of justice, and it says that tzedakah brings life. That charity, being charitable, and all the things that come with observing mitzvot, is what brings life, and not just any life, but a life of goodness and meaning and happiness. So the Rebbe closes off by saying, I hope that in the near future you will notify me of the improvement in your situation in a material sense, and the improvement of your situation in a spiritual sense, that all thoughts of a barrier of separation will have been nullified, and that you will devote effort and strengthen yourself in the observance of God's commands. Because we are, in the Torah it says, serve God with happiness. There's no more important tool than happiness to serve God in. You cannot be sad and depressed and irritated when you're serving God. You have to do it with a smile, and I'm sure it's not easy to do it. Sometimes we have difficulties. We have to overcome that. We have to cast them aside and remember that God is in control of everything. He can take those problems away. We just got to keep having a positive, happy attitude, and never to let go of our connection to God, no matter what rational voice in the back of our mind is telling us to do otherwise, or whether it be another person. Don't listen to that. Keep staying on the path, and keep remaining strong and committed to your to the foundations of the Torah. So with that, wishing everyone a blessed day. And also the Rebbe closes off by saying, awaiting good tidings. And we are waiting for all of you out there to only have good news always. Till the next time, have a blessed day.